welcome back to my channel. If you're new around here, my name is Eva, I live in London. I'm a full-time fashion blogger, I'm also a mum. And today's video is going to be actually about travel. It's going to be a tour guide to South France, French Riviera, whatever you call it, Côte d'Azur, and it's actually one of my favorite places in the world. Well, first things first, I want to apologize for today's weather, but this is the only time I can actually film the video. So the sun is coming and going, and obviously it's right in my face. So the lighting of the video is going to probably be changing, but just a quick update, my son has started nursery and he does like 3 hours, so I only have got a very short limited of time when I can actually get on with some work. And guys, if you haven't subscribed yet, please hit that subscribe button down below. I would absolutely love that. I publish videos from travel, beauty, lifestyle, motherhood, fashion, life in London. And if you like these sort of videos, I would love if you basically join me on my journey. So before we get into the actual places which I would like to recommend to you guys, I want to give you just a bit of background. I've been coming to South France for a number of years now. I think my first visit was when I was maybe 12 or 13. Then I had a really big gap, and then we rediscovered this place with my husband. Back then boyfriend, and we totally fell in love. It's actually my dream place. If I was to pick anywhere at the moment from the places I visited in the world where I would love to have a holiday home, it would be there. I just love the vibes. I love just everything from food to the beaches. Everything is just, you've got the charm, you've got the glam, you've got the history, you've got just the tradition there, and everything is just so pretty. And obviously it's not as far from London as maybe some other places. In terms of obviously this video, I have got some snippets which I filmed during our last holiday, which was now a couple of weeks ago. But obviously we've experienced the place before. We visited during the festival in Cannes, we visited in the winter, we did a full summer holiday. So there's a variety, but my main experience previously was always with Cannes and Nice. But this time I really wanted to do basically have our own car and just drive around, because I've always, when we did like, let's say the train journey from Cannes to Monaco, I've always saw all these villages and I'm like, oh my god, I want to stay here, I want to stay here. But having said that, it's actually good to stay in one or two places and then have a car either rented or drive if you're from London like us, which we did this time. So you can actually explore all these beautiful places, villages, little towns. It's just amazing way how to explore, and I'm really, really grateful. And we actually did that with our son Liam, and it was super easy, but he is very good when it comes to traveling. So predominantly I'm going to be talking about my recent experience and maybe throw in like some other experience. But for example, when it comes to Nice, we didn't really do much, we were just driving through, but before we did quite a lot because that was one of the places where we used to come. Right, the first place I'm going to talk about is definitely Saint-Tropez. Now, if you look up Saint-Tropez, it has got probably only 4,500 inhabitants, which is probably a small village if I would compare it to, let's say, Czech Republic, where I'm from. So that's probably the size of the village where I'm actually originally from, but it doesn't feel like that. Yes, it is very small, but because it's kind of curated for people with money and really rich people, it totally transformed. Now, I grew up watching basically this old school movie, which is a French movie about a policeman that was basically working in the local police station. He had a daughter, Nicole, and I totally love that movie. I mean, that reminds me of my childhood. And if you look at that movie already back then, you know, it was yachts, it was parties, it was glam, it was music, it was great food, and nothing has changed. It has just progressed. So when you visit this little town, I think it was my husband's first time, and he said, I imagined something else. This is just like, you know, luxury shops everywhere. And it is true, but there's something amazing about it, because you see these really, really well-dressed women walking down the street, and I think it's a nice experience and definitely really, really good to see that. Is that my favorite place? Probably not. I prefer Cannes. I just feel like it's got much variety, but it's definitely really, really good to visit. So I would definitely recommend walking down the marina, visit and have a quick coffee in overpriced Senechier Cafe, which is probably the most expensive you can find, but it's really good for people watching. Just sit down and, you know, watch the watched basically they go at Saint-Tropez. I'm absolutely loving like mornings at Saint-Tropez, just watching the people on the yachts having their breakfast. There's just so much glam. Obviously it's amazing for shopping, so if you have that budget, you know, it's got Chanel, it's got Hermes, it's got Bulgari, Dolce & Gabbana, it's got Miu Miu, it's got a lot of amazing things. I also love the main square. I've never studied French and I'm really bad at French pronunciation, so a lot of the things I'm going to be saying here are probably totally wrong. I do apologize. I only did Italian, English and German at school, so I have got zero knowledge. But there's this beautiful square basically where it's so amazing just to sit down and people watch. There is this hotel, the White Hotel, just next to Celine. So you've got all the stores and everything you can think about. Now, when it comes to prices, it is expensive. I won't lie. I actually did feel sorry for the locals if, you know, basically the prices are boosted up by the tourism and people with money, because so many people love to go there. You know, it's a favorite place for a lot of celebrities, including Bono and DiCaprio and J-Lo. So yeah, the prices are definitely high. I mean, easily for pasta 30 euros, 25 euros, and that's probably not the top restaurant. But we actually use a lot of like TripAdvisor when we're searching for food. And one night we fancied Italian, and I just basically searched on TripAdvisor like the best Italian in Saint-Tropez, and it found this place which was out of this world. Like the food was amazing. It's called Clandestino. I highly recommend it. If I passed it, I would have never noticed. First, it's not obviously it's not by the seaside, so you need to walk a little bit into the town and into the more kind of charming alleys, which I love. That's my husband's theory, that basically the best places are never on the promenade or somewhere really central or the main squares, and with this one I'm definitely giving it to him. I had one of the nicest truffle risottos ever, like the starter, my husband, everything was just great, so I highly recommend it. Like 5 stars out of 5. It is probably on the more affordable side, so thumbs up from me. So that's basically Saint-Tropez. I don't want to keep it too long, and let's move on to another place. So if you would be around Saint-Tropez, I recommend a visit of this like beautiful historical tiny village called Gassin, which is a little bit drive from Saint-Tropez, but it can be more than 30 minutes definitely, so it's really nice. So just even driving there, it's so magical. I really love like the little roads basically that lead you to the mountains. You can get some amazing views. It just has got that charm which I definitely love about South France. But Gassin was amazing. It's so small, you know, they've got like a proper lovely old church. There's like there's few restaurants. There's not much, but it's definitely worth to get that beautiful French kind of old historic atmosphere, the rustic vibes, and maybe, you know, you can look up some restaurants if there would be like, maybe just go and do like a lunch trip there. It's got amazing views, so I highly recommend if you're staying around Saint-Tropez to also have a drive to Gassin. Next place was probably on this trip one of my, I think the top place we visited, and that's just next to Saint-Tropez, and it's called Port Grimaud. We actually did that on the last day, but I would recommend to watch also the full vlog, so you can actually see the more real time when we were actually traveling and my thoughts and what we did. So there's going to be more, but I also wanted to do this structured guide. So Port Grimaud is, I would call it a French version of Venice. It's like little Venice. So I recommend to explore Port Grimaud both on foot and also hire the boat. So as you basically come, there is a big car park where you can park your car if you're coming by car, and right where the main entry to town is, there's like a big arch called Port Grimaud. On the right side you can actually go and rent these little electrical boats which you drive yourself. I can't remember how much it was, 20 to 30 euros to rent it for half an hour, but it's definitely worth it. I think it will fit 4, maybe 5 people. It was 3 of us and we fitted very comfortably in there. It's very slow, it seemed very safe. My husband was basically driving the boat, and you get this map and it basically takes you through Port Grimaud, and it's honestly out of this world. Like, it's just something like painted, like it's so beautiful. You would have to really see that, but obviously I'll try to insert some footage. But it's just such a lovely place to visit. It was one of my favorites ever. You've got all these colorful houses, you've got the yachts, smaller and bigger boats outside. Everything is so clean and beautiful. It's got that French charm. And then when you explore on foot, it's beautiful as well. You then see the other side. So when you're driving in the boat, you see like people walking across the bridges, and it's stunning. And then when you're walking, obviously, over the bridges, and when you're exploring the streets, you see the water and you see the boats, and it's just so magical. I absolutely loved Port Grimaud. And I'm gonna give a shout out to another restaurant we found on TripAdvisor. If I passed it, first, I don't think I would, because it was a little bit out of the way from the main square. I think we walked maybe 10, maybe even a little bit longer, maybe 10 to 12 minutes. But we found then this other square, which was super quiet, and this restaurant was called Armando, and I literally gave them 5 stars on TripAdvisor. If I passed it, I would thought it's like a buffet type of restaurant. I would have never guessed, but it's got definitely that French charm. Everything from service to food was absolutely top class. Like the food was amazing. We had this, we both ordered this calamari, which was their special dish, and it was definitely the best calamari I've ever had in my life. And I am quite big foodie, you know, I've done Michelin stars, you know, it's my thing, and it was just amazing. Again, a little bit more expensive, but it wasn't like, you know, it wasn't like going to Hotel du Cap or anything like that expensive. But I highly recommend this restaurant. You also have got some shops to explore. You can buy, you've got all these shops where you can basically buy like little presents for people, you know, everything very French. So I highly recommend Port Grimaud. It was, I think, my number 1 from this trip. Okay, so we stayed in Saint-Tropez for 3 days, and then we moved into Antibes, where we stayed for a week, and we stayed there like for the rest of the day, and then we just drove everywhere from Antibes. Now, I've never stayed in Antibes previously, but I know, for example, when there is a Cannes festival, because I have got a friend that is from the film industry, she always says, and a lot of people say it actually, whoever means something, whoever is a somebody during the Cannes festival, they stay in Antibes. And obviously you have got the old town and the more affordable part, and then you have got all the villas and like Eden Rock, where you can see the Hotel du Cap. That's where obviously the somebodies stay, if I can put it this way. But Antibes is absolutely beautiful. I absolutely love that. So the old town, I still can't get over. It is so charming, the little alleys, the squares, oh my god, it's just out of this world. You can visit also the Picasso Museum. They've got a lovely small beach, which is actually overlooking the old town. So it has got so much charm. So the beach is called La Gravette, but then you would have other beaches as well, which are a little bit off drive, so you can't, I don't think, like from where we stayed we could walk there, but that's why we had the car. So I think there's a beach Keller, and there's another beach. I'm gonna try to, if I remember, to pop it down below. But Old Town is absolutely beautiful. Like, it's a must go place. Like, honestly, I loved it. They've got amazing market, which I'm pretty sure that it was on every morning, which is a food market. There's so much produce, like, and everything looks amazing, from cheeses to fruit, vegetables, like everything is so good. And then the market transformed into more arty market in the evenings. You've got so many galleries, shops, you can. Oh, I just loved it. The atmosphere in the evening is just amazing. They also have got that viewing, I called it Antibes London Eye, which you can actually go on and obviously have a little bit different perspective of Antibes as well. There's a lot of charming squares, great food. I love it. So I can highly recommend, even if you just visit and walk through the old town, because it is definitely worth it. We did a little drive to a place called Saint-Paul-de-Vence, which is in the mountains. Again, it was quite similar to Gassin, but much bigger and much nicer. So Saint-Paul-de-Vence was absolutely charming. As soon as I stepped in, I loved it. The vibes, the rustic feel of it, and it's just it's out of this world. Everywhere you go there, it's out of this world. But you just have got so much charisma in that place. it's got, the atmosphere just soaks you in, but the views were definitely one of the best we have seen, and it's a definitely must place to go to. Like, I would definitely recommend maybe something like do like a late evening trip when the places are still open, so you can maybe walk through the alleys and explore the town, maybe look at some of the shops and galleries, and maybe do a nice dinner, because there was a lot of lovely restaurants which got maybe a bit of the view, but it looked definitely super charming. Another place I can recommend is definitely Saint-Jean-Cap-Ferrat. I probably pronounced it totally wrong, but I will try to put it either on the screen or in the description box below. Now, I originally wanted to stay there for maybe like 3 days, but decided maybe it would be too much to move with like a 3-year-old. So we stayed in Antibes, because one of my friends that knows South France really well, she said it would be probably the best just to do like a day trip. Now, again, I think it was one of my favorite beaches, if not the favorite, maybe second favorite. But there is this cute beach called Paloma Beach. As soon as you're coming in, it's got, you know, the pines you see in the Mediterranean, and I feel that's the part of France. And you walk down the stairs, there's a big sign called Paloma Beach with a cute little shuttle bus, which definitely adds so much charm. It's a pebble beach, it's quite small, but there is they've got a lovely restaurant, which has got good reviews actually, and it's probably very nice to maybe just have lunch there. So you can rent, it almost serves like the typical kind of French beach club, so you can rent the sunbeds, but you can also bring yours. It was so charming. You could go for a nice walk around the coast to the lighthouse with like nice views. So it is definitely a nice day trip or half-day trip just to explore something different and, you know, get a feel for it. I'm quite glad we didn't stay there, because the village seemed quite small. Obviously, you've got a little marina and some restaurants, but for a day trip, it's definitely a great idea. And if you already do the trip to Saint-Jean-Cap-Ferrat, I'd recommend definitely to stop at these gardens and see the villa. I think the Rothschild villa. I'm going to put the full name in the description box below, and hopefully on the screen as well. It is so worth the visit. It was a little bit more expensive if I compare it, for example, to some other tickets or entry fees we had to pay, but it was so worth it. Like, the gardens are so beautifully done. I don't blame the aristocrats. They used to love to spend their time there on the Riviera, because it has got stunning views. They look after it so well. The villa is beautiful, and one of my favorite parts is when you actually finish with the garden tours and you're coming back, you see the villa and then all the fountains, and there's the music playing. So I think they played, let's say, every 15 minutes. I don't know exactly, but they would have basically times when they played, and the fountains go on, and it's just so magical and so beautiful. So again, what a gorgeous place to visit. You can buy then some stuff in the shop there, just to kind of remember your visit there, but it's just a stunning place. The next place I'm going to mention is Juan Les Pins, which is right next to Antibes. It is probably one of my least favorite, but still pretty expensive. I mean, like, because I mentioned about the property, we're kind of getting a feel for all the places. If we were to ever buy a place, which is my dream, where would it be? And Juan Les Pins is probably no for me, but you never know, it may change. It would also depends on the return, but anyway, I'm not going to get into detail. But Juan Les Pins is, I find it more touristy. So if you like a long promenade with a lot of like beach clubs and a bit of a bus restaurants, but not like overly crazy expensive restaurants, it probably would be Juan Les Pins. It's still very beautiful. It's got that French atmosphere about it. You know, you've got lots to do, you know, definitely a lot of places to eat, a lot of places to shop, but it felt like very flat when I compare it to other places. It kind of lacked the amount of charm some of the other places would have. Next up is Cannes, which is my number one. It's probably the place, Cannes and Monaco, which I visited the most. Why do I love Cannes so much? When it's got a lot of like the Juan Les Pins kind of things I mentioned, so you know, the long beach, the promenade, the beach clubs, the restaurants, the bus. I love Cannes because it offers both. It offers what Saint-Tropez has, so it offers the glam, the expensive shops, but you also have more affordable shops. I think that is one of the things I was lacking in Saint-Tropez. So when you just walk one down street, so you've got the promenade where you normally have got most of the shops that you can find, you know, anything, you know, Celine, and there's Chanel, you know, there's Dior, there's so many shops in Cannes you can find, but once you just go one street up and you've got Zara, you've got H&M, and it just obviously gives you amazing things for everybody. There's so much to choose from when it comes to restaurant. I prefer sandy beaches. It's got the beach is very long, so it gets very busy, but you still have got lot of room for everybody. You've got selection of beach clubs if you're really into that. So we stayed previously in the Martinez Hotel. We also had a lunch this time in the Martinez Plage, so that's really one of my favorites. But you've got more amazing hotels. The town itself is really charming. It's got, I think, around 70,000, 75,000 inhabitants, so it's not massive, but it's big enough to offer you variety, and that's why I love Cannes. It's got obviously all the glam from the Cannes Festival, and that's why it's my favorite place actually out of all of them, because it just offers me what I'm looking for, like it suits me basically. What I want to mention is definitely S. Is this little village in the mountains, and again it's so stunning. A friend of mine said it's definitely better than Saint-Paul-de-Vence. I don't know, I really fell in love with Saint-Paul-de-Vence, so I would say they're quite similar for me, but a lot of people probably would prefer S. So S is this historical village full of character. It's got that rustic feel, as most places I've been actually talking about, and you can actually basically park your car down and then you walk on foot and explore the old village, which is again so stunning. You know, the stone houses, the charm, how it's decorated, the flowers. But in S they also have got this garden. I think the entry is €6, where you have the best views you can actually get. It is definitely worth the €6. What is actually funny, it's like such an Instagram spot. You see so many people basically, you know, with pro cameras, like girls that are dressed up, they want to get the shot, they really want to get the, you know, the right YouTube content as well. But it is beautiful. The garden itself is beautiful. It's so well done, but in combination with the views, like, oh, it's just so beautiful. So S is definitely one thing I recommend. It's full of restaurants. You also can buy like little presents for friends or something for your house. Again, it's got a lot of galleries. You find all the products, like from the soups to, you know, the French perfumes. There's a little perfumery down the car park where we parked our car. So there's so much to do in S. Again, I think it would be a nice day trip or half day, depending on how quick you are. There's a lot of people that actually want to go to every shop, to every gallery. I think with a 3-year-old it's not probably wise, so we did it, I think, in a few hours, and we absolutely loved it. The next place I'm going to mention is Monaco, because I actually think it's quite good to do Monaco and S at one day, so do half and half. Now, I think Monaco, this was my 5th visit, so we didn't do as much just because we've been there before. Even if you basically come to places like Cannes or Antibes, it's really easy just to jump on the train, and it's probably the nicest train journey I have ever done, because most of the time the train goes along the coast and you just see the clear waters and the beaches, and it's just amazing. But Monaco is it's exactly Monaco, you know, it's very compact, very small, very expensive. I was making a joke that basically I always say you can almost smell the money in the streets. Everything there is about money, but so I felt about Saint-Tropez. Saint-Tropez just has got more charm, and it still has got that kind of rustic feel. And Monaco is about shopping, food, the port they have there. It's beautiful, like expensive yachts. Stunning shops, again, a lot of glam people. It was really funny because I didn't expect this, but one of the really successful YouTubers, Yanni, I want to try to link her channel down below. I know she lives there. I actually saw her. Obviously I didn't go and talk to her, but I think she went for lunch. I just then even checked on Instagram, like double check if it was her, and yes, it was her. So she just went with a friend, I think maybe her family. So they went for lunch, which obviously I saw then on Insta stories. But it's really funny how small it is that you actually bump into that person that you may just know from social media. So you go there for just one morning or one afternoon and you still bump into them. But I definitely recommend. A lot of people always take pictures outside of the casino, but it's definitely lovely just for a quick visit, quick walk. I remember when I first visited Monaco, all I remember is the lift in between the streets and how it basically takes you from one place to another and how compact it is. And I remember how the guide was saying, oh, this is like these are the people that live here, and showing us a couple of houses. So it was basically experience back then. I still love it. One of my friends actually moved there. She really enjoys it, so I think it's really definitely a good recommendation for like a few hour trip or like a half a day trip. And I'm also gonna give you a bonus trip. I think when you're staying in South France and you have the opportunity to travel around and you have your own car, definitely do a trip to Italy. Which we did. I know a lot of people do that, but it was basically a friend of mine recommended it, and I'm really happy we did that. So it could be a nice day trip again. So we visited two places, San Remo, which I also visited before many years ago, and Bordighera, which is like this town, which is first. So first is Bordighera when you're driving from France, and then comes San Remo. We didn't do much this time in San Remo just because the weather turned, and that was that one day when it was actually raining. It was holding off for a long time, and then we decided just to go back. And I love Bordighera. You see how different everything is from, like, you just cross the border, from prices to the vibes. You really feel you are in Italy. I have, again, very sweet spot for Italy. I did Italian for several years. Not that I'm very good, I forgot everything, but I think if I stayed there more or traveled more and kind of dusted the knowledge of Italian, I would definitely get better. But I love the food, and we went on first day, and in Bordighera there is this market, which obviously you get a lot of stuff that is not great. You also have got a lot of stuff that is great. It's actually really big, and it's on the promenade, so what's not to love? You know, you've got the market where you can search for the gems for very little money, you can negotiate the price, and you are on the beach. So I absolutely loved it. I can recommend, and I would definitely go back just for the cashmere. So there were several stores that were selling cashmere. Am I a cashmere expert? Not, but I would pretty much say it was a real cashmere, and the prices were amazing. I think it was like 30 to 35 euros per piece. They were selling like cashmere pants, scarves, cashmere jumpers, cardigans. So much to choose from. Obviously the leather goods was also very good, beautiful jewelry, but also food. I couldn't resist, and I bought some food there. You know, the olive paste, and just everything was really good and so much more affordable. We also stopped for lunch, which was great. Just a very casual, simple restaurant, but food was so good and amazing value. So if I compare it to France, it just tells me the prices are so much higher in South France than probably like north of Italy. But both extremely beautiful, and definitely such a nice tip to actually do that trip as well. And obviously as the last place I'm going to mention Nice, but as I mentioned we didn't do much, so I don't have pretty much any footage from Nice apart from maybe some of the driving footage, which I don't know if there is a point to mention it. But Nice is great. It's not my favorite place because I just find it too big. I almost find it very unusual for me because when I went to the beach holiday, I've never stayed in a city that big that would be actually on the beach, but it is still amazing. Obviously I mentioned it at the start that I prefer sandy beaches, and the one in Nice is actually pebbles. But we stayed in the Park Hyatt hotel there, which is just on the promenade. We stayed there I think twice, which is amazing to wake up to the promenade. I love definitely morning runs on the promenade, it's really good. And Nice has got so much to offer, from like galleries, museums, restaurants as well. Unfortunately the restaurant that definitely stuck in my mind, that was amazing, I think no longer exists. It was basically this superstar chef that was international. Luke Salcedo, he stayed before and was cooking in like really top places all over the world, and then he decided to open a small restaurant in Nice, and that was at the time when we actually went there. I don't know what happened. maybe he got another opportunity somewhere else, maybe it wasn't the right spot for him, I don't know, but that's the only one I can recommend, but not much use to you if it doesn't exist anymore. So I can't recommend any restaurants from the past, because that's the only one I think from what we visited in the previous years is definitely worth to mention. But it's great, it's great for shopping. It's got lovely port, loads to do, definitely loads to do. Even the beach is great, I'm not saying it's not, but I do prefer sandy beaches. For me today, guys, I'm pretty sure I forgot something. Obviously there's so many more places we wanted to go to and we didn't manage, but we can leave it for another time. And if you guys like these sort of videos and you like fashion, you like London, please hit that subscribe button. I would absolutely love if you join me on my YouTube journey. Perhaps if you have visited South France, let me know what are your tips, which was your maybe favorite place, or let me know if you plan to visit, because it is honestly just, oh, I love it there so much. So thanks again for watching, guys. Don't forget to like, turn on notifications, subscribe, and I'll see you soon in my next video. Bye bye!